ready?
It's time to talk sports. National, local, professional, completely unprofessional, high school and college.
Let's take it even further off the hook.
It's the Zach Gelb Show
We are rolling
on Fox Sports 920, The Jersey.
live from the palatial yet not overly ostentatious George R. Brown Convention Center in beautiful Houston. This is the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey, 920 a.m. in Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties, or worldwide on the web at 920thejersey.com. Big show and other big shows are brought to you today by Corona and Corona Light. Rocky Blyer will stop by, Rashad Jennings. We'll also have on Wade Smith and Mike Haynes. And this is Radio Row. Usually we don't go to a guest to start off the show, but honestly, to me, he's the biggest name on Radio Row these days.
No question.
In terms of talk show hosts.
Sure.
I know you have Francesa and Russo here, and I grew up idolizing those guys,
Sure.
but there is no one more controversial right now in the sports talk world. And
Is
I'm
that true?
stroking his ego right now.
Right, there
that
you
is
go,
Kirk Minihane from Sports Radio WEEI from Minihane and Callahan. How are you, Kirk?
What? It's actually Kirk and Callahan.
Oh, my bad.
You can't
I
do
screwed up.
I would have no problem with that.
Yeah.
But the two last names sound so similar that these dopes, and they put these. We hire people to spend time putting this name together, and they come up with a hopper with Kirk and Callahan. You can't beat the geniuses
Now,
in
true
sports
or false,
talk radio.
You did a lot of fighting and a lot of begging to get the top billing at the station.
No, I mean, ironically, my ego is ridiculous, but having my name first was not a big deal. It's all
that's
about.
a lie. You're lying to my face
Oh,
right
no,
now.
I make.
If I brought Jerry over here, there's no way he would agree with what you just
I
said.
make more money than Jerry. That's all that really matters. I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to turn in the mic in the Mad Dog Part 2. We're not going to do that. I won't do that.
How was it working with John Dennis?
How was it?
Yeah.
The last year was tough. I mean, we had a tough last year together, man. We didn't talk at all off the air for a year. I mean, a solid year. That can make for a long 20 hours a week on the air and then everything else off the air. It was tough. And then Dino left. John left in September, this past September. He left because I think it was time. He was in his 60s, and morning shows are tough. And I think he was actually ready to go. And Jerry and I are doing great. I mean, the numbers are great. The feedback is great. The buzz is good. We're having as much fun as you can have here this week. I was saying, that's your dad, right? I was telling your dad earlier that the morning show at Radio Row is just it's ridiculous. I mean, I'm looking at it now. It's mobbed. You turn left and right. You have guests. We just kind of do our show. If somebody we like, we float them in.
Yeah, I remember seeing Boomer and Carden last year in San Francisco.
Same thing. Right.
That's
right.
3 hours.
3 hours.
They
yeah.
taped the night before and then did their show.
Oh, they did? Yeah, you do some of that. Yeah, we were in Phoenix 2 years ago, right? Same thing, 4 to 6. So we do some stuff. We're actually taping somebody tonight, and then we'll have him. We'll do it tomorrow. Pretend it's live.
We've talked over the years, and something I've always admired about you is the way that you attack your guests,
right.
Especially ones that you disley. We had Randy Miller on the show.
Oh, yeah.
You brought Schilling on, and that was very exciting to hear. Over the years, Bart Hubbock, who just recently got fired for really an idiotic tweet.
Can we pause?
He's no longer here.
Go sympathy ahead. For Bart Hubbock, and he lost his job. No, I just said the other day, I hope he loses his house and lives outside in the winter, and I hope it's a cold and wintry winter. I do.
That tweet
I hate
was
the guy.
really stupid.
Well,
but just because the guy writes in New York, it makes it even more dumb.
Well, here's the thing. Ironically, I've obviously gotten in trouble. I've been suspended 4 times now in the last couple of years. So I'm not somebody who thinks somebody should ever be fired for something they write or say generally. And if Hubbock had done that on his own, I would have said, I wouldn't want this guy fired. But I dislike him so much that it spilled over. It's a dumb tweet. He compared Trump's election day to 9/11, 01, 12/7/41, and Inauguration Day, the 3 dates. And it's just, especially like you said, when you're in New York, and, everybody knows somebody around there who, at least somebody who died in those. Kids died in that. Kids die, it's stupid. You got to be careful. That's the problem is, you want to do things to get attention, especially now, and you feel like you get pressure from people you work for to do it, and then when you do it, they get mad at you for doing something stupid. And I've figured out the line to some extent. Now watch, I'll probably say something tomorrow and get suspended, but I figured it out to some extent. But about the confrontation with guests is, I grew up listening to Mike and the Mad Dog. That's who I listened to. And they would go after guests all the time. And, when we had 3 people on the show, we still generally do. When everybody agrees on something, it's not great. But if you can bring somebody on who you disagree with and fight, yell, and scream at each other, and it's authentic, I don't think you can go wrong with that.
And, for example, you see a lot of these guests that they write something, and I know you have a big thing out with ESPN right now and everyone at your station, and even at the competitor of yours.
Sure.
No one in Boston likes ESPN. it amazes me when people write things and then people say things and then they're afraid to come on and defend it.
Yeah,
and that's really gutless to me.
I agree. And it's not there, and I'll get tweets because some guy wrote something in Deadspin yesterday. You see the Brady story. Same thing as always because of Brady and Trump. And Brady's, a terrible person, all this. And they said he has no courage at the end. We asked him to come on. He says no. And, they don't have to. It's not their right. But I do feel like if you write something like that, to some extent, to somebody in the media, it's kind of your obligation to go somewhere with somebody who disagrees with you and talk about it. It's also good for your brand. It's good for what you're trying to promote. It just makes sense. So if you believe you're right, why not go on and fight about it? I've never understood that.
Kirk Minihane with us right now. Zach Gelb Show live on Radio Row. Day number 3 of coverage as we're getting ready for the big game powered by Corona and Corona Light.
That's a reintroduce right there.
Yeah,
that's how you do it. I'm not good at that. I would butcher that. You're a pro. I am not.
Why do you think Corona sponsors the show?
They
the
do.
way I read it.
They're a fine product. Absolutely.
Very good.
Yes.
And the thing also, in terms of Brady, since you brought him up.
Yeah.
I was standing next to a Jet fan actually on media night, and when that whole question happened.
Opening night.
Opening night. Sorry.
Careful.
Yeah, I don't want the NFL to boot me here on Radio Row. But with opening night and everything that occurred, and Brady then starts crying when talking about his father, the Jet fan turned to me and said, it's impossible not to like this guy. And I know that's not the national feel, and a lot of people hate his guts.
Right.
But Brady, and you have him on every week, he seems like a really good, authentic dude.
Right, and it's you don't know these guys, right? But you know what you know, and our conversations with him, I've liked him. He's been good with us. He's been really good with us. And, the rest of the country hates him, and I totally get that. If I lived somewhere else and watched this guy do this for the last 18 years, was married to Giselle and kind of has this nice guy, wholesome image, I'd hate him too. I get that. But, yeah, I mean, our interactions with him have been really good. He comes on for 20 minutes. One thing about Brady is he may not give you the answer you want, but never once has he said, hey, don't ask this or don't do that. We can ask him anything we want. We might not like the answer all the time, but anything. And right now, I've never seen – you've interviewed, I'm sure, a million people here so far this week. I always say we see this every morning, the Brady and Matt Ryan, the two of them with the big poster back there. You might as well knock Matt Ryan and the Falcons off it. It just feels like this week is all about the Patriots. And not just from us at EI. Wherever I go around, people are talking about the Patriots. The Falcons seem like second-class citizens at the Super Bowl. It just seems like they're along for the ride.
Well, the big part about that is just because of the entire – Brady, Goodell, and the Goodell press conference. That's the major storyline going into the Super Bowl.
Right.
And Atlanta, they have a very good chance to win this game.
Yeah.
They could win this game, and maybe they could win it going away with that offense if they're able to get out in front and pound them on like they did to the Packers. Now, I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah.
But this week, with how everyone is now on Twitter, everyone wants to make that meme, that troll meme.
No question.
At the end, Brady getting the trophy from Goodell.
Right. Yeah, and I think, that's going to be fascinating to watch, and we speculate about it all the time, but I think Brady will go up there and take the trophy from Goodell and shake his hand and smile, and the next day if he wins the MVP, he'll go to the press conference, shake his hand and smile. We know he hates Goodell. We know the Krafts hate Goodell, but it doesn't benefit Brady to say, I hate Goodell. We've tried to ask him 30 different ways, and it doesn't work. It just doesn't work, and Goodell is adept at lying, too, and I saw it today. I was at the press conference.
How was that?
There's a reason why Goodell makes whatever. We got knocked down to $35 million now. There's a reason why he makes that kind of money. The owners he can wheel it out and just lie. They asked him about Barstool Sports today. And
Goodell
really?
Said what did he say?
He said he's never heard of Barstool Sports.
Oh,
He didn't even know about it.
They got arrested.
Right. They've been banned from media day. They've been all over the place. But he does that. And, he said, I'd come to Foxborough anytime.
Yeah,
I have a great relationship with the Krafts.
I was there 2 weeks ago. He's not coming to Foxborough.
It's not going to happen. But, I think the other owners they like him because he does stuff like that. And he makes them a lot of money, I guess.
How much longer do you think Brady's going to play?
It's a really good question. If I had to guess, if he doesn't get hurt, I'm going to say after this year, 3 more years.
The emotion that you've seen from Brady this year, especially the last 2 weeks, I've never seen that emotion really from him. I've seen him, of course, scream on the field, let's go, throw a water bottle, do all that. But the crying and even how emotional he got after the game with CBS, I've never seen that. 2 reasons why that could possibly be. And it's probably a little bit of both, but which one do you think it's more? Number one, just the emotional taxing that this season was being out 4 games, or number 2, he realizes that the end is almost near probably?
Well, I think it's more number 3.
Okay.
Tom Curran reported it yesterday, and it's been, locally, his mom's been sick really sick for the last year and a half. And we found out more and more here over the last couple of days. Tommy Karn, who's a Comcast writer locally,
Yeah, sure.
broke it there first, and a couple of people. Shaughnessy wrote about it today. And if you saw the interview with Wolfson after the game, he said hi to his mom first.
That's right.
First of all, it's unusual for Brady to do an interview with a sideline reporter after a game anyway. Mm-hmm. So to do that and then mention his mom, and his voice cracked a little bit. I remember watching that and making a note, and Jerry and I were talking about it earlier. We did a bad job. It's a hard question, right, when you have a guest on every week, basically to say, why'd you mention your mom like that?
Mm-hmm. Especially before when he says, like, hi, Mom, after
yeah, so we didn't handle it quite right, but we both said something seems wrong about that. So, you have parents, I have parents, and when they get sick or whatever, that's a naturally emotional thing. I think that's part of it. I do think the suspension's a part of it, and I agree. If he was 29, I don't think he'd feel this way. When he won, he broke the record for wins earlier this year, 201 or whatever. And I asked him which win means the most to him in his career. Which one do you think he said? To that point, I said, which one?
The next one, probably.
No, what he said was the Seattle Super Bowl.
Okay.
Because it had been 10 years since he won the Super Bowl. And if you remember, that was the birth of Deflategate.
Yes.
I think if they win Sunday and you ask him the question,
this one. It'll
be this one, no doubt. I think he thinks to some extent it could be his last one. After all the Deflategate stuff, the stuff going on with his mom, I think he would say that. Now, but I would also say this, and Patriot fans get arrogant, but if I had to, put a gun to your head, to paraphrase Mike and the Mad Dog.
Who are you, Mike Francesa?
Gun to your head. Gun to your head.
Come on, Michael. Gun to your head, buddy.
I'll do the win-losses. Loss, win, loss, win. Not a Hall of Famer, dog. Not a Hall of Famer.
He's a compiler.
Right. If I were to say to you who's going to be in the Super Bowl next year for the AFC, who would you say?
Patriots.
How about the year after that? If Brady's good next year.
Patriots.
I mean, it's like, because you look at the rest of the AFC right now, I feel like the gulf has never been, in the past has always been a good Pittsburgh team, or a good Baltimore team, or Peyton Manning and the Colts, or Peyton Manning and the Broncos. Right now, Denver has no quarterback. Now, if they get one, it's different. And if Derek Carr is healthy next year, maybe that's different. But Baltimore, no. We saw Pittsburgh, no. Kansas City, no chance. The AFC East, no.
How about
Houston with a quarterback?
What if Houston gets Romo?
That's different. Do you think, and we had Sean Salisbury on today, I mean, do you think the Dallas would trade in-state Tony Romo to Houston?
It's out of the conference.
They play him next year? Yeah.
It's out of the conference.
That's the one reason.
That's the big thing.
How about if Tony Romo goes to Denver for a year?
I think that's the most likely.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
No,
it makes sense for both sides.
Right.
But here's the thing with Romo.
He's going to get hurt.
What are they going to get for him?
Right.
Everyone knows they're desperate.
Third or fourth?
Yeah.
He's going to get hurt. That's the other thing. He's going to get hurt. So, the second best team in the AFC this year was Pittsburgh, and they're not on the same planet as the Patriots. So you start saying to yourself, is this ever going to end? Is Brady going to be doing this when he's 47? I mean, like it's completely insane what's going on right now.
When Brady retires, how much longer does Belichick do it? Does he go out with Brady?
No, I don't think he will. I'll tell
agree.
you what. Belichick has figured it out. Like he works hard, but doesn't work as hard as he used to. He enjoys it. This is his life. I think he also, to some extent, wants to prove that he can do it without Brady. I think he believes he can do it without Brady. I think, what is he, 13-6 or 14-6 in his last 20 without Brady? That's with Castle, Garoppolo, and Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett for one game.
Yeah, and and by the way, they'll trade Garoppolo in this offseason and get another first-round pick, and probably a high one. So I think Belichick is invested. I think Belichick's going to do this until he's in his early 70s, I'd say. Another 7 or 8 years. I don't think he's going anywhere.
Locally, we see players come to the Eagles or leave the Eagles and then end up being studs in New England. And I know Eric Rowe hasn't been great, but he's been good.
Up and down.
He's been average. He's been a nice player for them.
Yeah, he hasn't hurt him.
But Patrick Chung was a player that played well in New England, went to the Eagles, was a train wreck, then goes back to New England, and he's a viable safety.
But I'd say this, Zach, he's better now than he was his first time in New England.
Yes,
he was up and down in New England. You're right, he stunk at Philly. And when they brought him back, it was kind of one of those.
But how do they do that?
Well, I don't know how Belichick. I mean, look at the skill players that Brady has right now. I mean, Gronkowski, who's an all-timer, is gone.
And how about when he won?
Right.
Early on in his career, it was David Patton, David Givens, and Troy Brown.
He has had in his career, on the offensive side of the ball, if you want to call Gronkowski a Hall of Famer, I'm not sure he's there yet, but he's a Hall of Fame level player. And Moss for a couple of years. And that's it. Wes Welker, Danny Amendola, Kevin Falk, Dion Lewis. We could do this forever. J.R. Rebbitt at the start, Jermaine Wiggins 15 years ago.
Antoine Smith.
And Brady does, David Patton, Givens, and
You know
Troy
what's actually
Brown.
one of the most impressive Brady years? The year where they blew the I know they didn't win a Super Bowl. But the year where they blew the 18-point lead when they had Riche Caldwell with his bug eyes.
He had a big drop in that game.
Wasn't Doug Gabriel on that team?
He was on that team. Yeah, he stunk, and they were up 21-3 in that championship game.
Asante with the pick.
Yeah, and if they had won, they would have played Chicago in the Super Bowl, would have won it. But, yeah, that's probably, I would put that in his top underrated 2 or 3 seasons. I mean, his career is astonishing. I think he's the best player in football history now. And I think if he wins on Sunday, I feel like that argument's over. As great as Brown was, as great as Rice was, the position's so important. If you win 5 Super Bowls and play in 7 in the modern parody, NFL, it's mind roasting. It'll never happen again.
Wrapping up with Kirk Minihane, who joins us right now on Radio Row. In terms of storylines for this game, when you get away from Brady and Goodell, looking at some of the matchups, linebackers for the Patriots up against the Falcons running backs, what do the linebackers have to do? Has this been an interesting year for the Patriots linebackers after Jamie Collins got traded to places in Cleveland that no one wants to go to?
And he got what he wanted. He got his money. It's a good question. I think that's the underrated matchup of the game, that and what they'll do with Jones. I think those are the 2 things that matter. And I think you make a good point. If the Falcons can get out to that 10-0 lead or that 13-0 lead, obviously the game changes. The one thing I'm sure of at the matchup is I think the Patriots will do something to that Atlanta offense. It's the top-rated defense in the league. They'll have some moments. The one thing I am sure of is the Patriots are going to score in the 30s. Can the Falcons do that? For the Falcons to win, Ryan is going to have one of those games, one of those historical, I think, 4 touchdowns, 400-yard kind of game. And if they win, it'll be like 38-35. But I'm pretty confident the Patriots will get in the 30s, and I do think they'll win this game.
Do they let Julio get his yards and try to shut down the other guys?
Similar to what you saw against Pittsburgh, I think that's definitely possible. That's Belichick's MO, right? I mean, he's going to pick a guy and take him out of the game. And the question is, if Jones catches 8 balls for 86 yards but doesn't kill them, that's okay.
That's a win.
And guys have done that. I mean, Terrell Owens had the big Super Bowl against the Patriots. That can happen. And I do think you're right. I think they'll find that. And, I have it. I forget what I picked. I think I picked 38-31.
You didn't think they would be here, though, right?
No, I am. I am going to the Super Bowl. Yeah,
I thought you picked the Steelers.
Yeah, but I'm on the radio. The other guy picked the Patriots. I mean, sometimes you got to get through the week. We can only talk about Trump so much of the time. Do you think? Here's my question. I know you got to go. Do you think Trump will be at the Super Bowl? I say yes.
I say no.
No, I think he's going to be there. I'm telling you, I don't know, but I have a pretty. Pay attention.
It would be his scene because
I think there's a
he
chance
cares more about TV ratings in the country.
That's true. You're right about that. That's true.
Last thing for you before we let you run. With the Patriots offense and what they've become offensively and what they've been offensively, when you've seen that change starting in 2007, for this Super Bowl with the offense, the run game to me, and the run game's always been interesting in New England.
Yeah.
Because you've seen Corey Dillon, you've seen Antoine Smith. You haven't ever really had an elite running back in New England with Brady.
Right.
And you still don't have that. Those 3 running backs this Sunday, can you see them having a monster game? Because I've heard arguments for Garrett Blount for MVP.
Me too, and I think Blount can have a big game. But you know what? This is how it works with these guys. You say Blunt's going to have a big game. You say this. You say Deion Lewis. And Belichick always plays the guy you don't expect. Like James White, 11 catches.
Chris Hogan.
Vereen had 11 catches in the last Super Bowl. So, yeah, I think they've almost gone away from that because I don't think Belichick values the position enough to pay for it. So I think there's a reason why they don't do that. I mean, listen, if the Patriots win, Tom Brady's going to be we live in the NFL in 2017. Ryan will be the MVP or Tom Brady will be the MVP.
You never know with Goodell.
That's true. Well, that's true. That's a good point.
You never know. I could be listening right now and I could get booted in 5 seconds.
Definitely possible. Definitely possible.
Kirk, great to see you. Appreciate
Zach,
it.
all right, buddy. See you.
Thanks so much. This is Kirk Minihane from Sports Radio WEEI. This is the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. We'll take a quick break, and when we get back, Rocky Bleier will join us.